everybody. It's 5 o'clock today. How are you doing, Rachelle?
I'm good. I should learn by now that I don't know what to expect. And even when I think it's all going to start off like just normal, you go and do something like that. And big kisses to you all the way across the world in Alaska right now. And I can't take you seriously right now.
I wish I had practiced a little bit how to talk with that in my mouth. I look like Miss Piggy. Watch it.
No, you don't. But I tell you what, you're very skilled, because between that, there's actually something in common with what you just did there, because I was just going to say, it reminds me of the time that you had the unicorn on your head, the unicorn head, and you were talking. I could hear you mostly clearly, I guess. But at any rate,
I thought about putting that on my head again, but I actually, I told our guest before, and we're going to guess about our guest, but I brushed my eyebrows already, and so the taking of the hat off, like, it can really mess up your eyebrows. And plus, my hair is so big, I don't want to mess with that. Like, I'm enjoying my big hair. And anyway, so yeah, so are you doing okay? How's the week looking for you? The weekend.
You scared me. I was like, wait, is it Monday? That's not good. Hey, Jen Light and Elizabeth is on. It's good. I mean, the week has been, it's been another week, and
another 2 years inside of 7 days.
Yeah, it feels like it's been 3 weeks since I talked to you and Dave on Monday, and it's been a good week. It's been good to see the kids in school, and lots of laughs with them, and just, the things, technology failing, or just funny comments and interactions with us, with everything going on. So it's good. I'm looking forward to the weekend to catch up on work and to prepare for EST, which kicks off next weekend too. So
right.
It's an odd experience, because usually when EST's obviously the end of June, I have school ends and you have like that 2-week period, because I have so many things going on to get everything together. And now I'm thinking, wait a minute, it's coming up next week, and there's a ton of things to be done for that. So, but It's good. I'm looking forward to it. Although thinking about how much I missed seeing everybody this summer at EST, but
I know those of us who go to conferences, and I get to be one of those people because I do go to conferences. It's something that we miss or whatever, but I'm like small potatoes. Yes, this week has been kind of rough, but I'm through. Yes, Jennifer, you have made it through. Well, today we have something that's going to make you smile. For those of you who are feeling like you are, you lived 2 years in this, these last 5 days, 7 days, whatever. And I want to thank everybody for joining in through Facebook, Twitter, and just wherever you are. Thank you for joining in today. We have a pretty amazing guest. It is the week of Dave's, so I'm going to give you some hints, Rachelle, and you can help me with these hints, okay? So we know his name is Dave, okay? He wears a hat because he doesn't have a lot of hair.
I got one. He's gonna be mad when he comes on. No, I'm kidding. He's also been seen as I don't care bear.
Ooh. But he does care a lot.
He does care a lot, right?
Get it? Care a lot?
No.
That's where the Care Bears live. The Care a lot.
Oh.
Okay. That's some 80s stuff. That's some more 80s tidbit.
Well, I did dress up as a Care Bear at one point. I just never actually watched the show. I just thought they were cute. So
yes. And our guest today is cute. I kind of think he knows it. Oh, he is an author. He is an educator. He's a speaker. He has like 10,000 jobs going right now. He's pretty busy. Does anybody know who this next Dave is? Do you know, Rachelle? Are you surprised?
No. Am I supposed to be, or did you do like a switcheroo? I mean, you pulled out the big lips. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, ready? Introduce our next guest. Ready?
You do it with those lips on.
Okay, our next guest is Dave Smith. Woo!
Look what you walked into.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like sitting back in a green room and just watching this train wreck. I got to tell you, Melody, Yeah, I know. You realize my name is scrolling across the bottom on this big surprise.
She's asking you, how was your week, Dave?
My week was good. How was your week?
You need the big
my
lips,
gosh.
big candy lips.
These are from the 80s, guys. Remember how popular these were? Wax lips.
Have you had them since the 80s, or
no?
like
I got
is
them
that
in
the
a
same?
candy box. Okay, yes. I can't believe I can't believe that I freaking saw that. I didn't see that ticker. I'm an idiot, but whatever.
It's all good. Were you surprised that I was here then?
I was surprised.
Yeah, okay.
I
That's all that
couldn't
matters.
remember. Yes,
All
my
that
big
matters.
hair. I had it. Yeah, no, just joking. Dave, so much is going on. I hope you have something to say that's going to make all of us really mad. And
all I have to do is start talking. Can I ask you a question though, real quick,
yes,
Melody?
Yes, yes.
I was watching this TV this morning, and they said that today Fairbanks, Alaska, is going to see their last sunset until like the end of January. Is that like similar for you too, or is this the end of the world for you?
It's okay. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I have to do stuff like this. I have to get my hair big. I have to put red lips on. So it's Fairbanks is further away from us. It's a few hundred miles, I think, at least 200 miles. And I do have friends that are there. So if they're watching and you want to chime in and tell us about Fairbanks, I can only speak for the Anchorage area. We're going to have about 3.5 to 4 hours of daylight. Usually, I feel like I could be wrong, but I think it's from like between 11 and 12, the sun will come up, and then it will start setting between 3 and 4. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's already
good morning, Melody.
Yes. I'm not going to lie, it's depressing. This time last year, I was tanning all the time. We were at the gym. I was also 30 pounds lighter. We were working out, and I got under the tanning bed, and it saved me. This year, I don't know what I'm doing. I am still applying fake tanner, but that is not the same vitamin D that we all need. So it's a struggle. Thanks for bringing up that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just helping all of us feel that much better about our weeks and our lives, because at least we can look outside and see the sunshine and hear the birds chirping and know that we're not there. So
we're not there. Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
It's also like 3 degrees right now.
That's like a heat wave.
Seriously, you're making me feel so much better about my life right now. Just keep talking.
I know it's like 65 here. 65.
Oh no, I lied. It's 18 degrees.
Well then that is a heat wave.
Yeah, but Fairbanks is a lot colder. My friend Chelsea that lives there, she's an educator. It was like below, she won my book the other day, my digital copy. I was like, if you can beat me by being, and it was like 3 or -3, something ridiculous. And she is in Fairbanks. So yeah, so it could be worse. But yes. Anyway, let's talk about something sunny. So I hear that you have been talking a lot about virtual assessments.
Yeah. I saw a couple of people in the comments here saying that this week has been tough. This week, for a lot of people, I know it feels like it was March all over again. It felt like we kind of had our stride. We heard all this stuff was happening, and then all of a sudden it lands on our front door. And all of a sudden we're having to pivot, adjust, and change midstream again, whether it's from face-to-face to hybrid, or hybrid to full remote, or just shutting the doors. This week has been a struggle for a lot of people. And what's bizarre is it's not like people are just falling back saying, okay, I'll just go back and continue to do what I did in March. It worked for me. It's causing a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress because the bar has been raised. The expectations have been raised. We're supposed to have all this stuff figured out by now, but we don't. So we're scrambling again, trying to just figure out how to make the best of things when everybody gets back from Thanksgiving or the month of December or for who knows how long. So yeah, a lot of people have been reaching out and asking me questions about assessment and grading and a whole lot of things. And to be honest, a lot of things I don't necessarily have answers for, but I'm good at making things up and trying to make people feel better about life. So yeah.
Or making them mad.
Or making them mad. That normally happens just as soon as I start talking. That's not the intentional part, though. I intentionally try to help people, but oftentimes just because the way that I speak without necessarily thinking through what I'm saying, and I shoot from the hip, it has a tendency to poke the bear and get people to start thinking, which is fine, which is all good. Sometimes I feel like that's kind of my role in education right now. It's just ask questions and then back up. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And so you kind of have an outlook on virtual assessment that is a little bit different. You said earlier you called it evergreen, and I was like, is this a new buzzword? So you don't have to go deeply into it because it is Friday. I don't want to depress anybody else by talking about bad weather and COVID and assessments. But you have something good to share about it. It's a positive message.
Well, I don't know how positive it is, but this buzzword, evergreen, I try to speak about evergreen material as often as possible. Evergreen meaning it doesn't change with the seasons. It's stuff that lasts throughout the coldest, darkest days, well into the summer. If it's good, it's good. So when we're talking about virtual assessment, I don't necessarily talk about virtual assessment. I talk about evergreen assessment, good practices that are good practices, which means oftentimes we have to change our mindsets about a whole lot of things. We have to change our practices. We have to change our practices from just collecting points and making kids jump through hoops and just turning in busy work. Right now, for example, I was talking to a school that I'm actually following up a conversation with them this weekend where they're struggling. They said that they actually quantified it out and had, I want to say I'll just throw a number out there. I don't remember the exact number, 5,000 graded assignments that they were looking at from the first 10 weeks so far, or first 15 weeks, 5,000 assignments. And of those 5,000, there were 700 zeros that were assigned to kids. And they were just baffled. They didn't understand. The administrator that was talking to me didn't understand how teachers could give students zeros. And I take a slightly different stance. And I actually don't have a problem with assigning kids zeros. I have a problem mathematically when we start talking zeros on a 100-point scale and all that. But if we start changing our mindset to being that we're going to grade, we're going to assess by collecting evidence of student learning. If you don't have evidence, then a zero is appropriate. But that doesn't mean that we as educators, we as teachers are abdicated from our responsibility of going out and collecting the appropriate evidence. If one lens of collecting evidence doesn't work, we figure out a new lens. So when I talk with schools and districts about virtual assessment, I don't necessarily talk about tools and technology tricks and Google Sheets and all that. I leave that to Alice Keeler or to people like Rachelle that are way more tech savvy than me. I simply talk about the idea that we need to start collecting evidence. And if you don't have evidence, you don't have evidence, but it's not necessarily the student's fault. It's your responsibility to figure out how you're going to collect some evidence.
I see what you did there, and I like it. That's all I'm saying.
There was just silence, like processing all of that.
I feel like I'm talking too much. So I wanted to give you, so butt in, Rachelle, if I'm like, talking too much. But here's what I liked about what you said, Dave. First of all, so when you were talking,
you like that I brought Rachelle and Alice Keeler into the same conversation.
I do. Two of my friends. Yes, two of my dear friends who are way smarter than anything I could contribute. So when you were talking, I felt kind of like my emotions getting up there. Wait a minute. You would give a kid a zero. So I felt that. And then I felt the other side of you saying, but wait, on a 100-point scale. Yeah. And then you talked about that. So I appreciate that you're looking at it from like this panoramic view instead of just from a tiny little window.
So let me give you an example. Let's just say hypothetically, that tonight I get arrested for some sort of heinous crime.
For being
Use
so
imaginations, people. Yeah, that's it. They say you're impersonating Kenny Chesney, which is what you said early on. So I get arrested. No, let's just say I get accused of some heinous crime, murder or kidnapping or something that's just horrible.
That's horrible.
And they take me downtown, and I look at the officer that arrested me or the DA, and I say, "Do you have any evidence that I committed a crime?" And they say, "Nope, I have zero evidence." What's going to happen to me? They're letting me go. Now, if I confess and say, yep, you're right, I did it, that's one piece of evidence. But you know what? That's not going to be enough to convict. If I say I did it, that's still not enough to convict. They have to then go start looking for other evidence to support my claim. And that's kind of what we have happen in schools all the time. When I was a building administrator, I remember at the end of the year, I would have these big data meetings with teachers. And I would say, do you know if the kids learned what they were supposed to learn? And the teachers would say, yep, they confessed that the students learned. And I said, show me some evidence. Now, a scatter plot is not evidence. Pulling out a bunch of letter grades, that is not evidence. I want evidence of student learning. And that's what assessment, that's what grading really should be. It's just simply evidence of what took place. That's the same scenario. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so cool. And Rachelle,
mom's in the house. Mom's in the house. Just the cat and her. So a couple things. Melody, to like what you were saying, I get that kind of feeling too, right? Because if you're an educator and you have been giving zeros, or if you're a student, you've gotten zeros, or if you are a parent and your child has gotten a zero, then you have all those emotions.
Yeah.
For me, and we had a talk about this before, Dave, I can't remember if it was with you or who it was with. It might have been with you, or maybe Melody and I were talking about zeros too. And you're right. Like if you have a grade and like a 0 out of a 100, the kid, it's going to be really hard to come back from that. But then the flip of that is if they never do anything, like if they just they flat out don't do the project, then you can't give them any grade. I mean, not that you're giving it to them. So they have to have something done. But there are times like over the years, I mean, I have given zeros for different assignments or projects, and students, I've said, well, years ago, no, you can't make it up because like 3 weeks, 4 weeks have gone by, or it's a new grading period. And it's like, look, you had 3 days in class to work on this project and you had 2 weeks and you still didn't do it. I think I told Melody this story too. I had a student a couple of years ago.
It was us.
It was us, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, why does that matter? It matters because it was due and you had the time. And so when it comes to zeros, like you're right, thinking about other ways to get evidence of their work. But it's hard. Like when you're teaching, and if you give an assignment and everybody has the same amount of time, or if you give extended time or whatever, at the end of that period of time, you don't have anything from the students. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. The whole conversation about zeros is the gateway drug to a bigger conversation about feedback and assessment. Because ultimately, if you give zeros or you don't give zeros, it really doesn't change anything. Where that then leads to is this whole conversation about 100-point scales. Because I could argue with teachers all day long. Having the argument about a 0 versus 100, that's never the conversation. We're never talking about an F versus an A+. But the same conversation should exist between what's the difference between a B+ and an A-. What's the difference between an A and a B? What's the difference between a B+ and a C-? Can we actually break it down? Because if we're saying a student has a 95%, what does that mean? Does that mean that they answer things with 95% accuracy? Does that mean they got 95 out of 100 points correct? Does that mean you gave them a 100 question test and they got 95 of them right? But do we know that what if the test had only been 95 questions right? Would they have gotten 100? I mean, that just leads to lots of other questions and conversations about the assessment and the evidence and the feedback we're providing. So that's why I like to poke the bear with this whole conversation about zeros, because what ends up happening in a lot of schools when they start to dabble in things like this is they throw out the policy of we're not going to pass out zeros anymore. And then that's where the conversation stops. That's not the end of the conversation. That's just the tip of the iceberg that should lead to 1,000 more questions. And if you think that's the answer, then I think you're looking at the wrong problem.
Boom. I love it.
So side note, my mom has been giving me assessments kind of indirectly. I've struggled with the like Melody and me. Right. And so do you remember, Melody, whatever we had Bree and Lainey on? And I think we asked them, and I can't remember if it was Bree or if Lainey explained. I think it might have been Bree. And it went in and out. And I'm always hesitant to say, Melody and me, because I always get it wrong. However, my mom set me straight the other day. So now every time I'm talking to her on the phone, I throw in some random sentences like, hey, what are you doing? Melody and I are talking today. Who? Melody and me. What are you doing right now? My legs and I are walking past the house. Who is? My legs and me.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, Melody and I are wearing lips. Nope, that's just Melody.
This is my listening face.
That's your listening face? I can't take you seriously.
You better start talking.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking, I almost did this when Rachelle was, just because I have a big mouth and I interrupt all the time. I should just start using this as my listening face to keep my mouth shut. No, I have to say that Rachelle and me, just kidding. I'm not gonna make them up that. Here I am trying to poke the bear. David, some of the things that you talk about are a little bit over my head and a sleepy kind of. I'm sorry. But what I love about you the most, and it's just because I'm not as intellectual. I don't have doctor by my name like both of you do. Anyway, that's okay. I should have said that. I'm being like discriminatory against smart people, I feel like. But what I like about you is that you put the question out there and you're willing to look at it from different perspectives and do what's right for the students and the teacher, not just shutting things down, not shutting conversation down. That's what I enjoy most about talking with you. And it actually, even when my defenses kind of come up, I still can listen to you because I know you're going to say something on the other side that's probably I'm going to be like, yeah, that makes total sense. That's
the reality of all of it is, none of this is like a teacher's fault. And I hate to use the word fault as though somebody's doing something wrong. It's nobody's fault. I'm a huge believer that teachers, all educators, are out there doing the absolute best they can to play by the rules of the game that they've been given. So, for example, in this district that I was speaking of, that I'm going to be talking to in a little bit of detail later on today or tomorrow, they mentioned that they have a 95% attendance rate. So the administrator that I was talking to said to me, our students are showing up. And we know that because we take attendance every single day, but then they just sit there and there's these blank screens and they're not doing any work. So I asked very clearly, I said, well, why are the kids even showing up? If they're failing, why did they even come? And it caused a pause. And the reality is, this school has put an enormous amount of attention on students showing up. That is what matters most, because we know there's money attached to students being in class. That's where we put all of our attention, and that's where the focus comes. And kids are smart. They are very insightful. So they will show up. They will do what we've been preaching. They will do what's been expected. And then they sit back and they play the same game. So everybody is just good at playing the game. So what we have to start doing, as opposed to start attacking the players in the game, we have to start looking at the rules that we've set up for the game to make it a little bit more equitable for everybody.
It's a system.
It's the system with a big S, not individual districts, not individual schools, big S system, big O organization. That's the stuff we got to look at.
So, yeah. Okay. I know, I can't keep my mouth shut. This is the terrible thing. Okay, so we've talked the serious business a lot, and I love the conversation. But now, do you know what time it is? Can you guess what time it is? We do this every week.
Well, besides Thrive O'Clock, it's time to just start talking about some wacky randomness. So let's bring it, sweet and sour.
Oh, I thought it was 80s or 90s trivia.
I can do that too.
That would be a fun little contest to play.
Movie quotes. Song lyrics.
Would you rather do that than the sweet and sour?
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm gonna win it all. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, whatever. So you should have told me. I would have had a lot of trivia. Okay, Dave. But I asked this to the other Dave earlier this week and Rachelle. They didn't get it, so I'm going to ask you. I'll give you a little bit of 80s trivia. Who was the president 40 years ago today?
So this would have been 1980. It would have been Jimmy Carter still.
Yes.
Oh.
Reagan was elected, but didn't take over till 81.
What did you watch on Monday?
Either you watched them.
My daughter's name is Reagan, so yeah,
because Dave and I both said, I was like, Ronald Reagan. I said it right away, and Melody was like, no, it was Jimmy Carter. And so Dave and I said, that was a trick question.
And then they hated on me from then, and I had to be like, oh my God, like this is the hardest crowd I've ever had to work, and I had to wrap it up. Okay. So let's talk about.
I should turn around and say, who's the president today? But we're not going to go there. Never mind. Sorry. No.
You're going to be no. We're not going to go there. I'm good. Okay. That's when. If you ask that, us is where. For everybody's sake. Okay. So the sweet and sour of the week. Let's start with the sweet. Who wants to go first? What was a good thing about this week? Or let's talk. The year's wrapping up. You don't even have to talk about this week. What is a sweet thing that happened? A lot of people are saying that this whole year is completely crap, but I don't agree with that. There are good things about this year. So either today, sweet talk me about something good that happened this week or this year.
Well, Melody. No,
all right, I'll go first. So this year, I got to meet a lot of people for the first time that I've known for a couple of years. Melody being one of them. Who else? Laura Steinbrink was another one. I mean, we've been friends for years. Hey, look who it is.
Okay. We'll say hi.
No? You don't want to say hi?
Okay.
Aww. Yeah, so it was good to meet a lot of people in person at different conferences. I mean, starting earlier this year, which feels like 5 years ago, but getting to have that time to spend together, especially in Nashville, of course, with Melody and Sarah, Alexis, and Linnell. That was the last time that really around people. So it feels forever ago. So that was definitely, all of those were highlights this year. Anytime we get to spend with friends and family.
For sure.
That's good.
Okay, Dave, it's your turn.
So mine, I'm going to just talk totally selfish and personal on my end.
Good.
So Yeah, 2020 has been an interesting year. With this year, obstacles turn into opportunities, right? I ended up making some pivots and some shifts, just personally and professionally. Ended up taking big pay cuts due to COVID shutdown, the whole 9 yards. But through it all, I was then able to realign my purpose and my focus and make sure that I was just being intentional about things and got myself debt free in 2020.
Nice.
Hallelujah. Yeah. Praise the Lord. That is amazing. I wish I had a sound thing. That's amazing. Incredible.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yes. Congratulations for that. Rachelle, I agree. Okay. Shh, it's okay. So I think that it was the personal thing, definitely releasing my first book. You guys have multiple books, but it was my first published book on my own. That was definitely a highlight. And then getting to travel before the world shut down. That was another thing that I don't take for granted at all. And really, and I put this kind of on my socials, being able to my book, I mean, it's never going to be a bestseller, and I never thought that it was, but I have read it to kids all over the world. I have read it to kids in Canada, the United States, all across, and even Africa. So I can literally say that children all over the world have heard my story, and that is worth more than gold to me. And then I guess another sweet is just being with my family. We've gone through some very tumultuous times the last few years, and we're getting back on track, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. So yeah, that's sweet. Good. Yeah, and I mean, we don't have to talk about sours, you know.
My sour would be almost the same as my sweet. It's just that I haven't been able to see anybody.
Oh, I thought you were going to say meeting her. I was like, wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
That was,
thank you.
I'm so glad I got to meet Melody.
Right.
Yes, face to face, for sure. Do we want to talk about it, or do we want to end this on a happy note with, some final
you wearing some big lips or a unicorn head or a pirate eye patch? Or
we're going to get used to this. These are going to be my regular from now on.
You got to wear the crown too.
I almost wore the crown, but I really thought it stifled my hair today.
You don't need it, Melody. You're still the queen. It's all
Thank
good.
You. You're so sweet. These are going to be my listening lips. Isn't that such an elementary teacher thing?
I just don't get the whole listening and lips thing. Like you need because
ears. It makes you keep your mouth shut, right?
I know.
Yes,
it does.
I have to hold on to it with my. I can't I'm getting better though. Look, you can.
I have no doubt that on Monday, if you put those on, you'll be speaking like you're not even wearing them.
I agree.
I have no doubt whatsoever. Of course, I also have no doubt that on Monday you're going to do something else to surprise me. So,
oh gosh,
I'm going to have to up my game. Yeah.
Yes. Well, so let's keep it on a positive note. We're getting close to our time. Do you all have any last words, encouraging words, or anything you want to share with everybody who's watching today or our replay?
I would just encourage people right now. Now's a good time to just not to focus on all the extra stuff that's being piled upon you, but use this time to figure out what stuff you can cut out of your life. I talk a lot about balance, and balance only works if things are in equilibrium. So if things are being added to one side, cut back somewhere else. So you be intentional. If you've got a week off right now for Thanksgiving, if you've got any time off for Thanksgiving, use this time to reassess what things you can let go that might seem like luxuries right now, that might be enjoyable. But if it's something you can let go, it's going to add value down the road.
I love that. Rachelle, do you have any final words?
No, that is great advice right there. I need to follow it. I need to take a break as I'm thinking about the weekend of all the things I have coming up tomorrow. But I do plan to take a much needed nap, and I'm looking forward to seeing my parents and having them home around the holidays. So,
oh yeah, definitely. I love that. And that's how we're going to end. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, whether it was from Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. We appreciate you so much. And we just hope that you will really enjoy this next week. You don't need our permission, but we are encouraging you for sure to do what you love, what fills you up. It doesn't have to be school related. You are worth a nap when you want it. You are worth a Netflix binge, a good book, a spicy romance novel, if that is what you like. So take care, and we will see you back here on Monday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Dave, for joining us today.
Absolutely.